Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 20 of Omnifactory. Last episode we left off crafting tier 8 microminers and waiting for them to complete. And today they are done. So if we look here, we have 16 of them that we can send on their way to gather chaos shards. We'll use some of them to upgrade our fusion crafting thingamajiggy up to chaotic tier, and the rest we'll use towards chaos cores down the road. So let's send those off before we start today's project. Looks good to me. Alright, so today I would like to start producing Neutronium. Neutronium is one of the, I suppose you call it, endgame materials that we'll use to craft tier 9 and tier 10 microminers, which will give us access ultimately to the creative portable tank. So in order to craft Neutronium, we need a level 3 fusion reactor. And in order to craft that, we need a significant amount of Omnium. Let's see what that would be for. Somewhere in here we need Omnium. Maybe we don't need Omnium. Hold on. Am I confused? Doesn't look like anything here needs Omnium. Let me register this recipe and then I'll let the AE system tell me if we need Omnium. Alright, so it doesn't look like the tier 3 fusion reactor uses any Omnium. So that's good news. We can put off Omnium for a little while longer at least. It's a lot of steps, but by the magic of auto crafting, we just have to hit the start button. Well, we have to shift click the start button. And that's off. It'll probably be a fair amount of time while that crafts. So instead of waiting for it, let's work on the other thing, which is chaotic tier fusion injectors. So let me encode the recipe for that. In fact, I expect that'll be quite simple. Oh wow, the server's also gotten a little bit laggy. I think I've pushed my computer to the limit here. So good news is we're getting kind of close to creative portable tank, and when we get there, we can take down a lot of these systems. So let's see what's wrong with this recipe. I think it's 4 chaos shards. Neutronium. Looks like we can't do this yet. So we need Neutronium before we can make chaotic tier fusion. For some reason, I thought it was the other way around. Alright, so then let's not do this yet, but I can still encode the recipe. So it looks like we're stuck waiting for that fusion reactor to come online. I'll make the other components for it in the meantime, and I'll be back when I have it ready to build. While our components for the Mark III fusion reactor craft, let's take a look at what else we need to make Neutronium. So Neutronium is made in the fusion reactor, again, with Americium and Naquadria. So Americium we have plenty of. In fact, we have in ingot form, this would be, over 10,000? That's plenty. But Naquadria is made from the ingot form of it, which is cooked from the dust form, which is made in a mixer with 4 ingots of molten enderium, 1 ingot of molten curium, 4 grains of vibrancy, which are crushed vibrant crystals, 1 Naquada alloy, which I think we already make, we just have to pulverize it, so the ingot. Grain of prescience is a pulverized prescient crystal, and grains of the end is a pulverized ender crystal. So it's a lot of steps. Oh, and it has to be mixed in a ludicrous voltage or higher mixer. So it's a lot of components and a lot of steps, especially 4 ingots of enderium is quite a bit of enderium. But I think we have the infrastructure in place to make all of this stuff. So let me get us a ludicrous voltage mixer. You know what? Let's go 1 tier up to a ZPM mixer if we can, and see if we can start making Naquadria. And here's our Naquadria making machine. So I'm doing it slightly different than most recipes that use fluids. Normally for recipes that use fluids, I just stock a boatload of the fluid in a, fluid extractor somewhere else and then send it to here via export bus. The thing is, curium and enderium are valuable enough that I don't want to just have 64 buckets of it in fluid form or even more than that sitting around. So what I did was I included them as solids as part of the recipe. So you see here the recipe for Naquadria dust includes 4 enderium ingots and 1 curium, ball piece thingy. They all get dumped into this chest, and with filters, I specify that the enderium and curium come into the fluid extractor where they get melted and then sent here, and the 4 grains directly, or the 4 dusts, directly get put into the mixer where they get mixed with the fluids, and it forms Naquadria dust. This stuff then we can smelt it if we want, or just leave it in dust form for now. Since it just smelts in a vanilla furnace, it's very easy to turn dust into ingots. So with that being done, let's check up on the status of our fusion reactor. So it's not done yet. Our fusion coils, we need 32 of these. 24 of them are done. The casings are done, but our computer is... Oh, hey, did it just finish? There's our Mark III fusion computer. So we still have to wait for 8 more of these fusion coils to finish, and then we'll be able to build our fusion reactor. So let's check and see what that's up to. I saw it there briefly. Looks like it's still making the neutron reflectors. These take a long time, but looks like there's only, 16 of them left to make? So that'll probably take another 5 to 10 minutes. So yeah, I'll just be back when those are done. By my rough approximation, it's going to take somewhere around 1,000 Naquadria before we can make the creative fluid tank, at which point we'll have, a much easier way of making it. So let's configure our automatic crafting system here to stock somewhere in the vicinity of 1,000 Naquadria. And listen to the automatic rain system make the rain go away. Alright, our fusion reactor should be done any minute now. 27 of 32. And the last of our fusion coils are complete. So let's build it. I don't think I've built a fusion reactor on camera yet, so let's do this one together. I'll probably play this at high speed though. Womp womp. Looks like I've built too few casings. Let me get those really quick. And here come the last 8 casings. Good thing I counted right that time. The fact that it's... Oh, did it form? Looks like it did. I expect it to look slightly different, but hey. So here's our very pink Mark III fusion reactor. Now we have to hook up power to it. It only takes UV power, so we're going to need a UVCF, which I think I already started. One of the problems with late game is that my crafting infrastructure is a little bit slow. Also, there's too many background tasks for me to actually tell what state my crafting is in. But I guess we have to wait for that to finish. I really wish I could make this crafting faster. Bah. One complete and plugged in Mark III fusion reactor. Let's get it started on the process of making neutronium. So the neutronium recipe is 16 millibuckets of Americanium and 16 millibuckets of Naquadria make only 2 millibuckets of Neutronium, and it takes 10 seconds. So how much of this have we made? Let's grab 2 stacks for now. And let's make 2 stacks of this. So we can make it so that we can get some crates down in here. I could hook these up to the ME system to automatically provide it, but we only need to run, a couple batches by hand before I think we'll have enough to get to the creative tank. And once we get to the creative tank, then anything that happens in the in the fusion reactor, it all produces fluids. So the creative tank kind of invalidates the need for any fusion reactors. So it takes 100 KU a tick. That's a lot of power. But that's our first cycle, and we have 2 millibuckets of neutronium. Let's see. If we were making our fusion injectors, these things take 4 ingots each. So that's 4 by 144 millibuckets. Let's see how long this thing has to run. So it's 4 times 144. We get 2 millibuckets per cycle. Let me just do the math and then I'll come right back. Alright, so by my calculation, it will take this fusion reactor 8 hours to generate the 40 neutronium ingots we need to make the chaotic tier fusion injectors. But there's a slight problem. My server's lagging a fair bit now, and I timed it. This operation, which normally takes 10 seconds, took 17 seconds, which means my server's taking about 70% longer to do things. So that 8 hours is going to be closer to like 13 hours, which means we're going to have to do something else in the meantime, and this will be done hopefully by tomorrow's episode. So you can see the rate's not really consistent. Sometimes it lags a little bit less and it's faster. Sometimes it lags a little bit more and it's slower. But nothing I can do about it. I've turned off a bunch of non-critical machines, and yeah, it's just when you ask Modded Minecraft to do this much stuff, it's not very happy about it. But anyways, we set this up, it'll run, it'll take it a long time, nothing I can do. So, I could in theory build a second one, but that'll only have the time. Maybe I'll end up building a second one, but I'll do that off camera. For now, why don't we go and make that Omnium stuff? So Omnium is this pack's version of, I guess you can think of it as like the singularities that normally are, extended crafting singularities. Right? Normally the singularities are you take like 100,000 of a single ingot and you get one singularity. Well, Omnium kind of turns that around. Instead of using a bunch of one item, it uses one of a bunch of items. And in fact, most of these metals and other like solidified gases we already have. So let's just work down the list and see if there's any we don't make yet. We make these. Neon, the noble gases all come from our centrifuging, where we have an infinite phosphorus machine. I imagine we might not have arsenic. Let me check. Most of our troubles will come from the exotic materials catalyst. Let's keep in mind we have to check arsenic. Lanthanium. And I think that's it for this. Oh, and we have to make Einsteinium. So we have a bit of arsenic. Where can we get more of this from? Looks like electrolyzing cobaltite. Sure, we can buy some of that ore. And lanthanium. We have plenty of that. Okay, so let's make some Einsteinium then. So Einsteinium, we can either get it directly from tier 6 microminers, half a stack each, but I find that pretty inefficient now that we have fusion. We can do berkelium plus californium makes Einsteinium in our tier 1 reactor, and then we can solidify this with a ball mold. So let's get a ball mold. And then berkelium and Einsteinium. Or what was it? Californium? Berkelium and californium. So we have lots of this. That's good. Little bit of lag. Can't wait to get the creative portable tank and we can tear down so many of our machines. Hopefully that'll make the lag go away. So this Mark 1 fusion reactor is idle. We can retask it to do this for us. There we go. So we have a little bit of titanium left. Let's just pick that up. I like to use forestry pipettes to grab very small amounts of fluid. They can hold, up to a bucket, but they don't have to take the full bucket. And now we can, we don't want Einsteinium ingots either. We want Einsteinium balls. Cool. So that should be everything in Omnium except the exotic materials catalyst. Now here we might run into some roadblocks. Magnolium? Oh, looks like we can craft it. What's it made of? Magnesium and aluminum. Sure. So remember before when I said for all these metals we're going to use a lot of it? Well, even if we haven't used much before, every metal will see use in Omnium, and we need, I think, somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 Omnium. Night Slime and HSSS. So I think we make all the high-speed seals except S, but I don't think S is any worse than the others. Yeah, it's fine. It's osmium and iridium, but whatever. And Night Slime. So Night Slime is made with a slime block and titanium in a chemical reactor. So let me grab a chemical reactor and set that up. All right, here's our Night Slime producer. So we melt some titanium into molten titanium and then react it with slime blocks to produce Night Slime. And with that, I think let's just encode the recipe for Omnium and let the AE system tell us what we're missing. So since it uses significantly more than 9 items, we have to use packaged auto. So let's start with doing this. And we also need the exotic materials catalyst. So again, it looks messed up. That's fine. So once we have those, we can come over to here and let's start with the exotic materials. Whoops, I have to take this pattern and put it into the packager, of course. Now we should see, all right, so we're missing manual and ingot, all right. Well, that's Omnium. That one's good. That one's good. So the only thing I did 2 of that one, huh? So index 1 and 2. All right, index 2 is manulin. Index 1 is vanadium steel, red steel, and high speed steel S. So let me go set up blast furnaces to make these 3. All right, 3 more blast furnaces are running, one doing vanadium steel, one doing HSSS, and one doing red steel. So let's check to see if we can make that exotic materials catalyst now. So we can make this one, and then what was holding us back on this one? Manulin? So let's see how you make manulin. Manulin is made from manulin dust in a furnace. Well, that's easy. Let's go ahead and encode that recipe. We already know how to make manulin dust because it's part of draconium dust, if I recall. All right, so we should be able to make this one now. Perfect. Sometimes the items... So the reason I have to shift click the start button a lot is that sometimes these items, they're available when the crafting plan gets generated, but they're not available by the time I hit start. Like, I don't know, this mana dust probably got used up or something in the meantime. So if I shift click it, oops, that's not what I wanted. If I shift click this, as soon as it generates the crafting plan, it goes ahead and starts making the item. So in just a second, that exotic materials catalyst should be done. Not quite sure what it's waiting on. Anyways, now it's done. So we can encode a recipe now that says to make exotic materials catalyst takes index 0, index 1, and index 2. Let's grab an automation interface and a crafting table. What size? 7 by 7? Well, that's tier 3, I believe. And rename an interface. And for this one, I'll buffer it with a crate. All right, so put our crafting table, automation interface. We need an unpackager too. Let's do our buffer crate this time. Unpackager and our ME interface. Our stack is starting to get pretty tall here. Anyways, so into the ME interface, we put the pattern, and let's hook that up. And let's get power. Let's see what happens if we order one. I expect all the materials will get dumped into this chest. Perfect. And I need a bit more room in my inventory. Well, all these things I don't use often can get put away. Is that enough to pick this up? Perfect. All right, take that, go in here, save the recipe. We do not want to auto eject. We want to extract with conduits. And we need to run some energy conduit to you. So that should craft it and send it back to the interface. And then the reason I put the buffer chest here is because we want to feed items into here more quickly than the unpackager will push them one by one. Actually, maybe the unpackager pushes faster than an item. Let's try it with an item conduit and if it's slow, then we'll try it with directly having the unpackager push it. Because now that I think of it, I think the unpackager pushes pretty quickly. So let's order another, maybe 10. Give me 10 more of these. Are you crafting? Well, there goes one. When the next one starts, let's see how slowly it puts the items in. If it's too slow, we'll try removing the buffer chest and seeing if it's any faster. If it's gonna craft at all. Oh, I do need you on blocking mode. Oh no, this is fine. I think this is about as fast as we're ever gonna get it anyways. Alright, so now we are automating the crafting of the exotic materials catalyst. The next step is to do the entire moat of Omnium. There's a bunch of things in here I know we don't have, like all the solidified stuff. So I'm going to need a bunch of fluid solidifiers to handle all of these solidified materials. So let me go build those really quickly. Here's our array of gas stabilizers, I guess we can call it. They're just turning, each of these is a fluid solidifier being supplied with the gas and a ball mold. The gas is sent via fluid export bus, and then all these drawers are on a storage bus on the drawer controller. So with that out of the way, let's see if we can make all the bits of Omnium. Let's just start from the top. Oh, there's a bad start. Potassium and sodium. Potassium. I hope these are just, yep. If they're just smelter recipes, it's easy. And generally, I want to do 1 stack equals 1 stack type stuff so that it's a bit lighter on the processing that way. So let me encode these and I'll be right back. Alright, those two are done. Let's see what the next thing we get stuck on is. That's index 5, index 4. Oh boy. I think almost all of these are just alloy smelter recipes. Or I mean, smelter recipes. So let me register them. Alright, some of those were blast furnace recipes, some were furnace ones, but I guess that one, I forget what index that was now. Looks like it was 4. So index 4 is done. Now let's look at index 3. So there was one that was missing, calcium. And I think this is just another furnace recipe. Oh, it's such a pain to register all these, but I guess we have to do it. So I'll show you how I've been doing these. I just cook up a stack manually by throwing it into there. And then wait for it to finish and then add it like this. This way, the interface sends a whole stack of items at a time, so it does less work than sending a single item 64 times. Also running out of room on our multi-smelter, so I hope we finish before we get there. So index 3 is done. Next we have index 2. Please just be good. Cool, looks like everything here we can do. Index 0. Cool, I like that. Index 1. Einsteinium, I think we can just grab some of this stuff. Wow, we've already made 656. So that was index 1. And index 6. Yttrium ingot. We have yttrium dust. This has to cook in a blast furnace. Alright, let me add a blast furnace for this, and then that should be our last metal before we can make omnium. How exciting. Alright, yttrium ingots got their own blast furnace, and now we can craft the last of the moat of omnium components. So then we can register a recipe for it. Remember, you click this in, and then you just say it's made of index 0, 1. They don't have to be in order, but it's, putting in order makes it easier for you to not miss something. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's it. Cool. So let's encode this, grab our tables. Let's try this one without the buffer chest. We can compare the speed of the two and then maybe take the buffer chest away if necessary. I did not get an unpackager. All right, let's order 1 mote of Omnium. For now, let's get rid of this and just put a crate there. So that should take everything and dump it in here, and that's not going to fit in my inventory. Wait, what's happening? Why are these? Oh, don't do this yet. Well, fine. Empty it out. I'm going to let this empty out, and we're going to try that again in 1 second. All right, let's try that again. So let's start by getting all of these materials onto the table. They don't have to necessarily be in the right spot yet, but just putting them on the table means that we can have JEI put them in the right spot instead of having to, make me try to put them in the right spot, because that'll be a disaster. Where's that catalyst? Thanks, JEI. Much easier. So then we can put our automation interface back, import the recipe. We can now turn this extract back on and power the automation interface. Those are gone, and our mote of Omnium. Hey, our first mote of Omnium. We're gonna, remember, I said we're gonna need somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 of these. So let's see if we can make, I don't know, let's start with 30. Nope, can't even do 30 yet. Antimony. Doesn't know how to make antimony? And it stopped making yttrium. All right, well, antimony is easy. I just have to smelt it. But let me figure out what happened with that yttrium machine, and I'll be right back. Whoops, I had the yttrium machine set to stop at 0. That would naturally not make very much of it. Well, that's fixed. Whoops. And then let me go encode that antimony recipe, and then we should now be able to make a lot more motes. So with that, we should be able to, let's start with 10. We might not have much yttrium made yet because we just turned that machine back on. So just a sanity check then, if we ask for 300, what gets stuck? Cobalt, so we need to teach you how to smelt cobalt. That's in the process of making, that's fine, that's in the process. That's being made. I guess we just don't have enough osmium available. I think it's all being used somewhere else. That's being made. These I intentionally stopped at a lower number. Mercury should be in the process of being made. Let me double check that. So our mercury machine is over here. This one. Nope, not that one. This one? This one. Is it faster if we do it from cinnabar? We have a fair amount of cinnabar. That's 2 and 38 seconds, whereas if we do redstone, it's 10. And yeah, let's switch it to cinnabar then. Actually, let me make sure this won't break something. Does redstone produce other gases? Does this? Okay, no, it won't break anything. So we can switch that. Pull this out. So that'll produce our mercury slightly faster. At least as long as we have cinnabar. So there was one other metal. Cobalt, right? We happen to have a fair bit of it. It's just made in a smelter from the dust. Cool. Easy as pie. All right, so for the 15th time or something, give me 20 of these, please. Thank you. All right, we have now fully automated the crafting of Omnium. So let me grab the one we have. I'll have our automated stock keeping system up here. I'll have our automated stock keeping system here craft these for us. So it'll craft 32 at a time as long as we have less than, say, 2,000. So let's wrap up today's episode here. It feels like we didn't get much done, but I guess we got the slow processes started on making Omnium and Neutronium. Let's just put this here as a sign so I know what this one is crafting. And before we end, let's just see how much Neutronium we've made. 3 ingots. Well, you know, it's a start. It's a very, very slow start. But that's what we gotta do. Alright, so, yep, we'll wrap up this episode here. Hopefully by the time we come back, we'll have enough Neutronium made to do our fusion crafting and get ourselves a little bit closer to that elusive, creative, portable tank. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.